So I never thought I had a spending problem, especially an emotional one, until I realized exactly how much money I was spending on Amazon. Now, for people that don't know, if you go to your Amazon account, you can actually get an entire report to see exactly how much money you spent annually on Amazon. Now, the minute I saw that number, I went ahead and I canceled my Prime membership because I realized Amazon was basically, they were using my behavior and enabling me by saying, hey, you get free shipping, it's a lot faster, you save money, there's always a sale, you get notifications. And I realized that I was buying a lot of things I thought I needed, but in reality, I actually did not need. Now, that was me. Now, I also know somebody else that uses retail therapy. And I actually have this aunt and her friend. Well, this lady has about over 50, maybe over 100 pairs of shoes, and her house looks like the inside of a Marshall store. Like, she literally has clothes in there that she still has not used and still has the label to them. Now, before I tell you exactly the technique I use to basically stop spending money emotionally or just stop spending money on things you don't need, and by the way, when I say stop spending money emotionally, I mean you're spending money that you know you cannot spend, but you still spend it knowing that you shouldn't spend it. If you're doing that in some sense, you have an emotional money spending problem overall. Now, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a professional, but what I am though is someone that went through this process, created a system that helps me out a lot, and all I want to do is share it with you for the small price of $9.99. Okay, now I'm not selling you guys anything, okay, but that would be funny, right, to like make a video about spending problems and say, hey, just buy this last thing before you quit your spending habit. That'll be pretty funny, all right? But overall, that's not what it is, okay? I'm just gonna give you a system. Hopefully it helps you, and I hope this video makes a lot of sense. If it doesn't, comment down below and let me know if you have any questions, okay? And as always, guys, if you're new here, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified. Now, the very first thing, guys, is I learned this a while back, and it's that you really want to make things very easy. You know, the Bible says God would not allow you to be tempted beyond what you're actually able to handle. It also says you never want to create problems that can basically help somebody else stumble. That's all in the Bible. But when you apply that to finance, it kind of says this, okay? You don't want to create a lifestyle when you have to kind of keep fighting battles that you know you cannot win. And what I mean is this: if you have a baby and you want to train that baby to not just be all about instant gratification, you don't put marshmallows like in those TikTok videos and say, hey, don't touch the marshmallows until I get back. And when you come back, you're like, oh, nice job. No, you don't do that because you're obviously tempting that kid beyond what is actually capable of actually handling. So for yourself, the reason so many people lose, the reason so many people fail at trying to handle their spending is because more than often, they're trying to fight their spending habits with just, for example, willpower. And willpower is you saying, I am going to resist. I am not gonna do this anymore. And you've been doing it like for years now. And like all of a sudden you're gonna stop doing it. The answer is, doesn't work like that because habits are very powerful. And like Warren Buffett says, the change of habits are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. And that makes a lot of sense. And what I basically mean is what we need here are systems and priorities to make this whole thing a lot simple. My whole financial journey changed when I no longer had to make good decisions via willpower, but they happen for me automatically via the systems that I created. Now you're probably wondering, Tommy, all right, cool stuff, all right, let me know exactly what these systems actually are. Number two, here it is, okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, you need a budget. And a budget at its core is gonna tell you the money that comes in and the money that goes out. You need to basically analyze your debit card spending, your credit card spending, all your spending, and see exactly where is your money going. If you ever feel like you get paid and by the end of the week you're like, I just don't know where the money went. I just don't know. The answer is you got a problem because you're not tracking where the money is going. Now, my simple budget is what I call, that's the actual name, simple budget. I just basically give my money jobs. It's actually 6 different jobs. The first job is I want my money to cover my emergencies. So when I get paid, part of my money goes towards emergencies. Then I have money for investments, have money for debt payments, have money for my baseline expenses. That basically means my core necessities like shelter, utilities, groceries, and transportation. That's my expense column. Then I have money for fun. When I spend that money, I don't feel guilty, whether it's on Amazon or Marshalls or going out or buying something. I just don't feel guilty because that money is for that. And I also have money for charity. So overall, those are 6 different accounts: emergencies, investments, debt, expenses, fun, and charity. So whenever you get paid, you organize your money into these accounts. Well, I will give you one tip here, okay? Try to make sure your expenses are no more than 90 to 70% of your income. The lower it is, the more money you'll have for everything else, and that is awesome. Right now, mines are about 20% of my income. So that's a little goal for you if you want to be crazy like me, but it's possible. It's very possible. It's very doable. Now, here's also what you need. You can have the perfect plan, but you can have the wrong execution. I can tell you, hey guys, this is how I organize my plan. I have 6 different accounts, and then I go review what you're doing. You're like, hey, yeah. I spend 90% of my income, I spend 9% on fun, and then I divide 1% in the remainder 4 accounts. That's not what you wanna do. That's not how it works. You wanna have priorities, obviously, okay? Now, what this means is your first priority should be to become debt-free. Number 2 should be to have a fully funded emergency account of 3 to 6 months. Number 3 should be to start investing money, 10 to 20% of your income. And then while you're doing that, you're buying a home and you're trying to pay it off as fast as possible. And there is one last step, which is number 4. Last priority is you keep investing and you enjoy the money. Now, just by saying this, I also thought about this, okay? A lot of the times we say, this is a need because you need it, but it's not the only way to actually get it. Let me explain here, okay? I know people that say, Tommy, I need shelter, I need utilities, I need groceries, I need transportation. This is all true, okay? But then they're driving a car that's basically indebted. No, just sell the car, buy a used vehicle, pay cash for it, okay? So big expense gone. Tommy, I need my apartment, it's nice, okay? No, just change apartments, get something cheaper you can actually afford, saves you a bunch of money. Tommy, no, I need the fastest internet, fast this, or utilities, and I'm spending a bunch of money here. No, just cut those things out, get alternative plans that basically give you exactly what you want. Oh, Tommy, my groceries, they're so important. My health is important. I need to eat organic all the time because I don't want to basically pay what is it called? The fee later on in life. The answer is, I agree. But you don't need to be shopping at Whole Foods. You can just get organic stuff at Costco or Sam's Club or even Walmart these days, okay? These things are not as expensive as they used to be. But you spending $400 per person on food, that's just ridiculous. Get a meal plan, all right? It's not acceptable whatsoever. And by the way, emotional spending doesn't just come through via buying things, for example, like clothes and shoes and this and that. No, it can come from, for example, where you live, come from, for example, what you eat, what you drive. All these things can be signs of emotional spending. So keep that in mind. So the last thing, guys, I want to give you guys is basically a system, all right? So you have, for example, a budget. That's the 6 jobs for your money. You have priorities. That's basically 4 priorities, and you do them one at a time, step by step. But then you have, for example, a system, and this system has, for example, 5 little different steps, and it's helped me out a ton. So I want to share with you guys and give you exactly what it is, okay? First of all, if you know you have a spending problem, you want to limit your access to capital. And what that basically means is, let's say, for example, you have a debit card, all right, and you have $100 in there. You can't spend 1,000. You only got 100. All right, that's your limit. But a lot of the times we have credit cards, and credit cards give us access to extra capital to buy things we really don't need that much. So one big thing you can do to help yourself out is limit your access to capital. So that basically means stop using credit cards, stop borrowing money, stop basically just getting yourself into more debt. Limit your access to capital if you know you have a spending problem. Number 2, by the way, when I first got started, I just walked around with cash, and sometimes I did not have enough cash to basically take the bus. And I learned my lesson, and then I always had enough cash to take the bus, okay? Because you learn your lesson very quickly if you can't go home. Now, number 2 is have a dedicated debit card for fun. If you know you're gonna be spending 5% of your income, which is what I recommend if you're just on the debt part, 5% of your income on, for example, fun, the answer is have a dedicated debit card for it. That way, if you're gonna spend money on Starbucks or Chipotle, get some guac on that thing, or you wanna go to Marshall's, buy a t-shirt or whatever, this way you don't feel guilty about it because you know that money is for that and that debit card is for that. So when it goes to 0, doesn't matter because you had it planned, okay? But you know you reached the limit. Have a dedicated debit card also for your expenses. This is super important because your expenses are gonna be, for example, shelter, utilities, grocery, transportation, potentially healthcare in there also, okay? But the idea is that's your main thing. Leave that debit card at home. Don't use it outside. Now, if you're gonna have like gas, fill up your tank, okay? That's a big deal. If you're gonna have groceries, shop for the whole month or the whole 2 weeks or whatever. This way you're not constantly having to buy little things here and there. Meal plan, okay? Get excited about saving money. Number 4 actually, handle your responsibilities the minute you get paid. One thing I used to do was when I got paid, I would set money aside to pay my debts or to do something else here and there. No. The minute I get paid, I do everything I have to do. If I have to pay the rent, I might even pay the rent on a weekly basis, okay, just to get it over with. Now, I have a home and I don't have to do that anymore, but I just put that money to the side immediately. If I have my emergencies, put that money to the side immediately. If I have debt to pay off, put that money to the side immediately and pay it off right there. This way, I don't have a way to use something I don't have anymore. But you want to remove access. You want to remove it. You want to treat yourself like you're like a baby, and you don't want anything around you that can basically hurt you. That's the system you want to create. And number 5, the last one here, after you're done trying this stuff out, after 8 weeks or so, check back at it. See and review where you were and how you're doing now. Do you have any savings? Do you have less debt? What are you struggling with? Are you still buying stuff? And why exactly, okay? And by the way, at the core of emotional spending, there are some emotional things you might need to solve. When I was also emotionally overeating, there were some things I needed to solve. Emotionally spending, some things I needed to solve. Systems will help you with the money stuff, but they will not help you with the emotional stuff. So you get that solved by getting some professional help or just reading a lot of books that kind of help you work through things, okay? That's kind of what I did for the most part. Reading helps me out a lot. Now, some closing advice here. Very few people understand this, and more people probably won't understand it, but you have to understand that when you have habits, and you have very bad habits per se, you know, the answer is you're not going to change overnight, okay? When I first started with my fun money, it was 10%. Okay, then I went to 5%, then I went to 1%, but it was kind of like, for example, like this level thing. Okay, now for some people, they might start off with like 20%, then 15%, then 10%, then 5%, then 1%. But I know people that they want to start, for example, all the way at 1%, like I did for a very long time, and then after a week or two, they crack and they're like, I can't do this. The answer is, I know you can't do it because it's so hard. So just do me this favor, okay? When you're creating this plan, give yourself some leg room to mess up. Give yourself just be okay with messing up. It is okay. You're not gonna do this overnight. And then just keep adjusting, okay? Week by week, if you were doing 10%, do 9% this time, 8% for fun. And then obviously the money you're not using for fun, you're using to pay off debt, save for emergencies, or for example, invest your money or pay off a home. Because you obviously have priorities. Those priorities are very important. But one thing I learned is kind of like, it's weird, you know, because life is like this balancing thing, and you can't have one without the other. If you're super strict and you break, the odds of you getting started again are going to be pretty low. But if you're, for example, have a priority and you also have fun while you're doing it, you're more likely to actually continue. It's like, for example, I had someone that was training me and I absolutely hated their training because it was so hard. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's too hard. And I stopped going to the gym, okay, for a while. And then, I know that was a long time ago. That's when I did that whole beach body. You guys remember that beach body thing? I got it on the internet, and then I can't really, whatever, okay? I got the whole beach body thing, and I tried it for like 2 days. I was like, all right, this is enough. It's too hard. I'm just not willing to do it. And then when I started running, I started by walking maybe 1 mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, and then I started jogging a little bit, and then I started running a little bit. But it was like this building up process, and now I just ran a marathon, like 26.2 miles, and I could barely walk a mile. But it is a process. Don't rush the process. And the crazy thing is, hear me here, okay? Is that like what they say in the old times? Hear me here. It's a lifelong process. So what's the rush if this never ends? And when it does end, you won't be here anymore. So overall, enjoy the ride, all right? Enjoy the ride. Take it step by step. Perfection, or we don't get perfection, okay? Only God is perfect. But being very good at it, it's gonna take time to develop it, okay guys? As always guys, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified, comment down below money so I know you made it all the way to the end of the video. On top of up here is another video. Over here is my face, subscribe. As always, long-term team out, and I hope this video helps you in some way. Peace.